All the panel will ask questions. Okay.
Touch TV News Channel. The best.
The Independent Investigative Panel on the alleged corruption, abuse of power, torture, cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment against the Nigerian Correctional Service. The agenda for Day 2 of the third public hearing of Independent Investigative Panel on alleged corruption and other violations against Nigerian Correctional Service. The key area focuses women in custody, inmates on death row, inmates with physical disability, inmates with mental illness, strengthen oversight mechanism for custodial center and justice processes as the chairperson, Dr. Magdalene Ajani.
I must say, when they enter, if you've been into a
side, particularly psychiatrists and psychologists, for what we saw. In fact, there are some states that don't even have the regular medical doctor. How much more?
In your body that you don't know. How do you separate those that have chronic diseases, kidney failures, cardiomyopathies, and you're able to justify them as being able to get treatment, even while they are waiting on those death rolls, so that they don't just. Are there cases that people have died because of chronic health diseases before they are actually executed? And what is the ratio of those that you see? Number two, are there clinical assessments for those people in this period? Because you mentioned
the chair, members of the investigation panel. Earlier, I made a brief remark on treatment of inmates with physical disabilities. I indicated earlier that there is no particular documented protocol on how inmates with disabilities should be treated.
My name is Assistant Controller of Corrections, Ali Agaku. I'm the officer in charge of water and sewage, management of water and sewage services in the Nigerian Correctional Service nationwide. We, as has been already been established, we have a huge challenge with respect to management of our water provision and sewage in all our custodial centers for the same reasons as have already been outlined by my most seniors best. I am sure a lot of you have been seeing him running from one agency to the other, trying to secure support to assist the service in managing some of these services. Presently, we are working with Ministry of Water Resources. They have placed us on their budget. They give us some boreholes every year, depending on how much is allocated to that subhead. We're also working with
Emails. There were also comments made in relation to the nature of program that are made available for this email. Then specifically section 12 subsection 2C was very, very extensively discussed. And it was clear that part of the approach to this is not only in terms of looking at the administrative submission of inmates, which may be considered under prerogative of mercy, for example, but that legal aid council should, at its own will, decide to approach either the court in terms of the expression under section 12, subsection 2C, or also through the prerogative of mercy. And in addition, we clearly mentioned that you should get to the panel a list of all of the persons who are in the various custodial centers that are on prerogative, that are on death row, male, female, and the number to the panel. And final point around the issue around concerning death row limit was to see what kind of relationship in terms of the parole board process and those who are committed, the prerogative of mercy committee, and those who are committed to life, to see whether that could be of additional help. Then quickly, there was a discussion on inmates that have physical disability. Section 23 of the Nigerian Correctional Service Act of 2019 was mentioned as having something to say about physical disability. The panel encouraged the correctional service to have a list of all these facilities, especially the correctional centers, and then other facilities of the correctional service to assess the level of compliance in terms of being amenable to for the use of the different types of persons who may be suffering from any form of disability. And that is at least to give an idea of what it will take or to make sure that these things are in compliance. Then quickly, section 24 was discussed under the issue around mentally ill persons. Specific directive was mentioned in terms of the protocol and guidelines in term on this issue. And the panel was told that it has not been signed by the Controller General, who said we need to now have an update on this and when it will be signed. And if it doesn't want to be signed, why? So we would like to have information around the signing of that. Secondly, the fact around the Mental Health Review Board, which had been integrated across the whole country, as pursuant to Section 24, that the panel would like to have the status report in relation to the Mental Health Review Board and other issues as regards to the discussions around the categorization, both in terms of the civil lunatic and criminal lunatics and the involvement of the family. So we again having the statistics regarding all your facilities where you have asylum for us to have it and to know what the conditions are, and where you have these persons put in other facilities that do not have those so-called asylums. We want to know the treatment and management of them and the rationale for them, because we have seen that some are in mixed cells with people who are normal, while in some facilities they are in separated cells. I think that after the discussion around the persons with mental disability, there was a specific request and plea by the chair to the associations, including the Nigerian Medical Association and other health-based association professionals, and to look for a way to develop a very structured support system across the various correctional centers so that we can at least guarantee that this support is happening, and where the impact and scope of your outreach and work should also be documented so that we can clearly know what has been done and where it has been done. The issue about partnership and reaching out to pharmaceutical companies were also flagged, and the need to ensure that the young and staff are also taught how to advocate in this regard is also mentioned. Now, towards the concluding aspect of the session from the panel today, there were some discussions in relation to water and sanitation, in relation to works, on the issue regarding water and sanitation, specifically relating to Abeokuta Boston. The panel requested for empirical evidence showing the status of the work that's been done. In relation to the works program, the panel had asked for an on-site visit, which would be in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Works, and that within, as soon as possible, ASAP was the word of the chair, that the panel need to have this report so that we can be able to reflect it in our work. And the final comments coming from this side was the chair has emphasized the importance of proper management of resources to have great value for funds, issue of creativity in terms of use of those resources, issue of a maintenance culture. But I do know that that topic is still part of the discussion on Friday. So I think this has been a very brief summary of some of the deliberations that took place. And you would see that the panel chair stressed the fact that going forward, to help the correctional service, we need partnership. Maybe whole of society's approach, involving also other government agencies, but more importantly, the civil society and the private sector. It is on that note that I close my summary. and then we'll call Dr. Ike Ezugo to give his vote of thanks.